everyone and welcome back to my channel. For today's video I have a shorter video which is just a small project. It is actually a 20-gram snail mail challenge. I've never done any snail mail before, but I really wanted to, so I went looking for a Facebook group in the Netherlands so I could try, and I found a really nice group, and we got paired up with two. And then we had to make snail mail that would weigh no more than 20 grams. I don't know how much that is in the pounds or for English or American people, so I'm sorry about that. You can Google it, I guess. But 20 grams isn't a whole lot, I can tell you that. So I went looking on internet, like Pinterest and YouTube, to see if I could get some inspiration since I had never made something before. And I decided to go for a simple envelope, which I could stuff with as much ephemera as possible. So I had this vellum that I bought recently, and I tried printing on it, and luckily it worked. So I had this piece laying about, which was very pretty, and I decided to make a pocket out of the vellum because I just like the look a lot. So here I am cutting a piece to size. I don't have the measurements for this because I've simply forgot. I didn't measure either. I just measured it by the envelope that I was going to use, which is, by the way, a real vintage lightweight airmail envelope. And it weighed like 2 grams only, so it was very light, so I was like, that's perfect. And here I've sewn the pocket on. I decided to use white stitching because I already had the white thread on my machine for the lap book that I'm also working on. But yeah, I'm very excited to do this challenge. It's very new to me, but it was very fun. I'm just inking around all the edges. Also the inside, I also like to ink the inside folds always. I don't know why I do that. I just love that pocket. I love that vellum. It really matches the background paper a lot. And here I am actually deciding about the flap. Should I turn it over and turn it into another pocket, or should I keep it as a closure? And I end up using it as a closure. And here I'm measuring the middle, which is the few things that I do measure sometimes to find the middle. But yeah, other than that, I don't do much measuring. Here I'm just making a hole and putting in an eyelet that I want to use for the thread to go in to make a closure. And I'm also sorry, by the way, it took a while for me to post another video, but I've been sick, so I wasn't able to edit or film anything. I also had to wait posting the video until my partner received her mail because I didn't want to ruin the surprise for her. By the way, she also has a YouTube channel, and I will link it down below, so be sure to check her out. Here I'm just going to look for a few stamps, and I'm using the Field Notes stamp set from Tim Holtz. Just wanted to put something on it without losing weight because it's a challenge, right? I want to stuff it as full as possible with ephemera that my partner can actually use. So I decided to stamp a bit because that doesn't add any weight. So I'm choosing this lovely bird stamp. I'm trying to make it a bit of a nature themed because that's what I'm vibing at the moment. Yeah, I really like the nature theme. I'm also working on my lap book, which is also going to be a nature theme, so. I am going to try and weigh in between. Not all the items you see will be in the end result, like that tag, and I think there was a T card in it as well, but yeah, I had to make choices because it turned out to be a bit more heavy. But that's why I do the weighing in between to make sure that I'm still on track. And here I'm looking through my Tim Holtz stuff because I want to use a milk cap for the closure. And I'm also looking for ephemera that I can add. But first I'm going to look for the milk cap, and I wanted to use the smaller ones. There are a few small ones. And while I was putting it back, I found the perfect one, and it's a very small one with just like the bluish lettering on it, which matches the envelope very well in my opinion. So I make a hole with my crocodile in the center of the milk cap, and then I ink around all the edges. I think I'm using scorched timber for the entire project. I really love that color. And I'm just poking a hole and then use an eyelet to attach it. Then I remembered that I have hole reinforcers, and I thought that would look nice as well, so I added one of those. And I really wanted to make something that could also be used, so this envelope could be used into a tuck spot in a journal or just as a standalone. But yeah, I really wanted to make something that could be used, and I ended up adding more hole reinforcers also on the back side to allow the thread to have a bit more room when you close it up. This was a bit fiddly, and I was like, why didn't I do this before the sewing? But you know me by now. I always, yeah, I don't really think, I guess I just go with the flow, and it's often where I'm like, okay, I should have done this differently. And I really like the milk cap closure. It really looks good with the vellum. Here I'm just attaching the thread to make the closure, and I'm cutting the thread to size. And then I went for another weigh-in to see how much it would weigh and how much I had left. And here I'm going through my Tim Holtz ephemera to see if I can find something to add to the envelope. But I end up not adding anything to the actual envelope because I was like, maybe I should just add it loose so that my partner can actually use this in her journal or whatever she might be making. So I picked out two beautiful flowers that I thought fit the package. And here I'm going to weigh it again. I keep weighing. And I guess I'm still on the right track. Then I decided to add another pocket on the back side of the envelope, and I had this stack of rectangle papers that I wanted to use. These are, I believe, from Pink Monarch Prints, from a subscription kit. I believe it's the January subscription kit of this year. You can get it on the Etsy shop, but they also have a website where you can subscribe, and then you actually get a huge discount for these kits. So that's good to know. I really like Pink Monarch Prints. So yeah, I'm gluing it on 3 sides with my art glitter glue, and then I decided to add a notch as well. So I'm using a 1-inch circle punch to punch out a half a circle to make the notch. And then I'm just gluing down the pocket. And then I decided to look for some birdies, some fuzzy cuts from a book to add to the pocket on the back side. Took me a while to figure out which ones I liked the most. I'm always very indecisive when it comes to decorating. I don't know why, I just always take my time. I'm very sad though. I have this swivel knife of Fiskars. I don't know if you know what it is, but it's a knife that turns 360 degrees. It's very nice. You should Google it. But my knife actually got stuck in my mat while fussy cutting, I should say. And now the knife broke, so I have to get some replacement knives. But yeah, I really enjoyed that swivel knife for cutting out the white pieces in between, like, hard to reach places. You cannot cut it out with a scissor, if you know what I mean. I end up using this birdie and I ink around the edges and then I stick it down. But I was like, maybe I should add a little bit of collage underneath the bird. But then I was thinking, nah, I'm not gonna do that, because I also wanted to add something on the top side of the pocket and it would add too much weight in my opinion. So I ended up not doing a collage behind the bird. I'm just gonna stick it on as is. I chose this birdie because I thought the color of the bird matched the rest of the envelope very well. And here I'm looking through the numbers of Tim Holtz to see if there's one that matches well. And I end up going with this one. It's a bluish gray tint. I actually really liked it. And I decided to do a little bit of collage behind the number. Not too much though, because I don't want to add too much weight, but I do want the envelope to look a bit decorated at least. I didn't want it to be too plain. And this is my scrap bin. I have multiple scrap bins actually, but here I was just looking for a few pieces of paper that I could use. And while looking through it, I found this very, very pretty piece of real vintage ledger, which had some writing on it, and I was like, oh, this is actually perfect to add as ephemera. So I ended up adding that as well. I can't remember what year the paper is from, but I got it off an Instagram shop. I like hunting for vintage stuff on Instagram. I actually have a video coming up for that. So yeah, I just made this tiny simple cluster with just 2 pieces of scraps, but I love the look. And then I was checking to see if this piece of ledger would fit. Well, it didn't, but I didn't want to really cut off something, so I just folded it in two. But of course I didn't want to only stick in that piece of paper, so I went looking for other stuff, and I found this tea-dyed doily and a tea-dyed piece of paper, and I ended up writing a little note on the piece of paper for my partner. And then I added like one of those tiny paper clips of Tim Holtz. And that's what I used to stuff the back pocket with. Then I'm thinking about some more decorations on the front flap, so I went back to my stamp set, but this time I used Eccentric from Tim Holtz. And I really like these numbers, so I ended up choosing that one. And I'm using Fallen Leaves, and I'm trying to stamp it off just once so that the stamp gets a bit distorted. So it's basically an off stamp that I'm using. And then I'm just checking to see if I can use another stamp. And then I decide to use the green, because this green is more of a dark tealish looking green in my opinion, and I really liked that for because that green also is like in the vellum, so it fits. And then I decided I wanted to add something to the cluster, and then I found this printable stamp, and here I'm actually using a thinner scissors that you use to thin out your hair. I don't know what they're called actually, but yeah, it's like a scissor to thin out your hair, and it actually creates a very nice edge to a stamp that it makes it look a bit more realistic. So that's a good tip there. If you can find scissors like that, yeah, I advise you to get them to make stamps with. And here I'm just looking for more printable stuff that I can use. And then I ended up using that ticket because I wanted to add some smaller pieces of ephemera inside that, so that's what the pocket will be for. And here I'm going to look through my ticket storage that I made myself to see if I can use some or fill it with some of the tickets and numbers and labels. It's mostly labels, I believe. There's gonna be a few tickets in there as well. And these are all printables that I'm using. It's different sets or from different creators, so I cannot be for sure which one I used, but I'm sure that it involves a bit of those labels Days Gone By, I believe. And the numbers are from a different creator, but yeah, honestly I cannot remember which one it was because I had them for a long time. And the green ticket and the yellow ticket that I added are from 49 and Market. Then I'm doing another weigh in, and this is actually the end result. I really like how it turned out, and I really hope that my partner loves it as well. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you like the end result. And I want to thank you all for watching. And yeah, I'm just gonna let the video play until it ends, and I want to wish you all a nice day. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, it really helps my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!